Appreciate y'all. All right, we got to get into this Mace Camron situation. All right, so
Oh,
let me give y'all a little bit of a crash.
This is why I like StreamYard, so I can go on dark because I don't know who that is.
No, you do know, so it helps. Okay, so Shakur Stevenson recently had a boxing match in which a lot of people called it boring. Okay, um, Jay
who
Prince,
was?
Jay Prince, which is Rap a Lot Records or whatever like that, Houston native, is the manager. Mace and Camron criticized the boxing match between Shakur Stevenson's recent boxing match, and they said that it was a doozy. Shakur Stevenson goes on Twitter, and it was Twitter fingers all night for like 8 hours straight, going, saying that they was trash and, why don't they pull up? They'd never throw hands and all of this stuff, right? Jay
Damn.
Prince, Jay Prince as his manager, who is supposed to be a gangster, right? Supposedly, Jay Prince is his manager. Then goes on Twitter and says what he says as far as, "Hey, I'm his manager. If you want to handle this offline or whatever." This is Mace and Cameron's response to that. All right. Now that y'all caught up.
Jay Prince has a message for both of y'all with your comments after what you guys had to say about Shakur. He said, numbers don't lie, haters do. Let their haters say that he's boring and nobody wants to watch him. Sorry to tell you, it's just a select few of you haters. As you can see, there's proof that he has the number one ratings in any fight on ESPN this year, the top 3 ratings since 2022. And to all of you haters who want to escalate that hate outside of the ring, I'm Shakur's manager and I handle all his business outside of the ring. In other words, Cam and Mace, I will fade all his shots and take all bets.
They laughed at this nigga. Now remember, Jay Prince is supposed to be big dog in Houston and all of that gangster. Been around. He's like 60 years old, something like that, right? Um, and he's basically just like taking that same street mentality and going back and forth. Let me add a little bit more context. It's as a boxing fan, right? It is much different than to say, hey, he's the biggest. He did better numbers in 2024 on ESPN versus having a conversation about who does better pay-per-view numbers. It's much different broadcasting it for free on ESPN than to have people do pay-per-view numbers. Now, that's not to take away from Shakur Stevenson, his performance, whether or not he did great numbers. But I just want to add the context into this conversation to say that it's a much different thing than to have people doing pay-per-view numbers, and that's actual buys, and that's actual buys
And
versus
watching on ESPN.
people watching it on ESPN or ESPN two.
That's a
All right?
fact.
So I just wanted to add that in there, and this is their response to it.
Yeah, hey, chill, killer. I
You
got
want
this
you want me to
one.
go
I
first,
got
or you
this
gonna?
one.
Yeah. All right, go
I
ahead.
got this one. You gonna take all his fades and take all his shots and you handle everything out the ring. All right. So then we talking to you then, all right? We starting with you. Since you the big homie, we starting with you. That's how it goes around here. I want to just start off by saying you are so like lacking self-awareness. Like when you give such a lackluster performance and then you think you can make threats to people because you gave a lackluster performance, pause. You don't have the right to tell me what I should like or to tell Cam what he should like. That's not your place. Like art is subjective, right? So if art is subjective and I don't like something, you can't really get mad at us because we don't like something. And you're standing there with two Hall of Fame boxers that are constantly letting their hands go. So I think is crazy that Andre Ward let his hands go. Terrence Crawford definitely let his hands go. And then you walk out with these boxers and you don't tell the next guy to let his hands go. This is a lapse of judgment. And I'm gonna tell you another thing. When you're dealing with older people, they're the last to know that things have changed. We not your little niggas. Like the way you talking, I don't get what you mean. We're not your little niggas. Like for real. All that big homie stuff, that's for little niggas. Little niggas have big homies. We're not little niggas. So we don't even respect big homies. I know Killer doesn't. And for me, I never respected niggas in the streets. That's why I always got the problems I got. Niggas would tell me, Mase, chill. No, chill for what? Who is this nigga? That's how I feel listening to this, man. Like, I want to respect you, but I can't. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if I got a little, like the dudes that raised me, if I was out of pocket, they would tell me I'm out of pocket. They wouldn't let me put them on a crash out mission. They would say, yo, Mase, listen. Around here, we don't send niggas to do nothing for us. We don't pay niggas to handle our problems. You got to put in your own work around here, Lord, man. That's what you were supposed to tell them. You can't go out here and talk crazy and then send me on a mission. Nah, this is where the game got messed up when young niggas started sending old niggas out. And just because this little ignorant nigga got a few dollars, he make all of you that's supposed to be real run after his mission. This is a problem, Jay Prince. And I'm going to tell you like this. If you're 60 years old and you trying to be a street nigga, you failed. You failed. You failed. You failed.
Thoughts?
I mean,
Who's
that's
Jay
on point.
Prince? How old is this guy?
60 years old.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
60,
He's really 60? Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
didn't know that's true.
yeah,
He old as hell. Like he was running. I mean, you know, he an
rap a
OG.
lot.
He's supposed to be an OG.
Yeah,
He was the CEO of a rap label.
yeah.
His son helped found Drake and brought him to Lil Wayne and all of this stuff, but he's still kind of running the streets, and you know he got this mythical gangster aura around him. Technically, that's saying that he's running the streets and stuff like that. He older. He's 60 plus.
Yeah, but I think the main thing that Mace was saying was true, because you can't allow Shakur Stevenson to not take the criticism from that fight, man. Like, I saw the fight, it was okay. It ain't nothing to like go crazy about. You know what I'm saying? It was just an okay fight. So he has to be able to take this constructive criticism and just take it with a grain of salt and just be like, all right, well, these niggas got they sports show. They feel a certain type of way about the fight. That's it. But you can't allow him to go on a no rant and like start threatening folks. You're supposed to check that shit. I'm not saying Jay Prince should have apologized for him, but he should have just been like, look, this my young boy. He was out of line, man. Just let it go.
I
You know what I'm
don't think
saying?
that Jay
Like,
Prince should be the one speaking on his behalf. I think that Jay Prince is supposed to be managing his fighter, right?
yeah.
This is where the game get fucked up, and this is where a lot of the audience miss it. The problem with a lot of this stuff is that you get so big, and in a lot of instances, you get connected to certain people, to which it make it difficult for you to actually have an authentic opinion about them. Because everybody start to have connections and friends and stuff, and so you can't be all that. Kind of remind me of academics, right? Academics can't be objective a lot of times, because he is tied to, or he may be friends with, or he may be cool with that person. So if a person drop a project, he can't critique it the way that he wants to. The reason that I respect Mase and Cam to a larger extent from what I've seen is that Mase and Cam just say what it is that they think about that particular person. They not going in on them. You know, they're going to give their take from the street stuff and they're going to have their laughs. But like, for example, in the instance of Shakur Stevenson, they said that the fight was boring. You know who else they used to catch that type of flack? Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd, yeah.
Floyd Mayweather, they used to say Floyd's fights is boring. And
Yeah.
Floyd would just say, well, I'm the pay-per-view king, so yeah, my fights may be a little bit boring to y'all or the people that's not boxing purists, but a lot of people, just as many tune in to see me lose as see me win. And I know how to market a fight, and I know how to get people tuned in and stuff. And so Floyd said, he embraced it. He said, listen, my goal is to hit and not get hit. But Shakur Stevenson gets mad at the actual pundits and then threaten them. And see, it's a difference between getting mad and going back and forth, because I'm okay with people saying stuff back and forth. That's what Twitter is for. That's what Instagram is for. That's what these platforms is for. The problem that I have is that when Mase and Cam give an objective opinion about what they think about the fight, and then you talking about throwing hands with them because you don't like what their opinion is, that's when it got out.
That's wrong.
That's when it
That's
gets out of
wrong.
pocket. right? And so you can't start
Bro.
saying, throw hands because you don't like somebody's opinion of what you do professionally when it's supposed to be entertainment. And I think that Mase was also 100% spot on when he said, listen, we don't respect older people that's still doing crash dummy missions or sending these young dudes on crash dummy missions in which, it's still in that same space. As you get older, you're supposed to mature and you're supposed to start taking an OG position. And I respect Mace for standing up and saying, listen, I never respect the dudes in the street because they supposed to be the guide for the young person, not the enabler for bad behavior when it comes to this gangster activity. You ain't supposed to be 60 and still being a gangster. What is this? I 100%
Yeah.
agree with what Mace was saying. He was absolutely right.
Yeah, Mace was on point, man. And yeah, the main issue is though, like, you gotta find, like, so being an athlete, a sports athlete, especially being a boxer, you are your own entertainer. You're the entertainer. You're
Facts.
solely there. You're not on a team. So you have to make sure that there's an entertainment aspect and threshold that you're walking through. And when you're not able to do that, you have to be more like Floyd Mayweather. You have to be able to take some things with grace. You got to be able to take the criticism with grace and
Facts.
be able to say shit right back. And just all you got to do is just be like, hey, look, I still won the fight. People still gonna watch me next time, and I'm still gonna keep it moving.
I don't even think he got to say that. I just think he just got to let his work speak for him.
Yeah, like, so. I mean, even
And
if you
guess
won the
what?
fight, you still
And,
a technician.
and guess what? It's going to be people that criticize you.
Yes.
In every form of entertainment, listen, your car, respectfully, I think you're wrong. On this one, we gotta respectfully disagree, because Mason Cam never talked nothing gangster about Shakur Stevenson. They criticize his boxing, and here's the thing: when you are criticizing and you going off, they not gonna sit here and criticize and take their gripes over to his manager. That's not what happens. The manager's job is to manage the fighter. Hey, tell the fighter to throw their hands, make it more entertaining, or hey, stick to what you're doing and don't worry about what everybody else is talking to you. This ain't about gangster stuff. This ain't that. It ain't that at all.
Yeah, this ain't
Mason
about street
Mason
shit.
Cam responded to the insinuation that we can handle this like gangsters outside of the ring. They did their job as sports commentators to give their opinion about whether or not Shakur Stevenson, right or wrong. You can agree with them, you can disagree with them. They gave their opinion about whether or not Shakur Stevenson put on a good fight or whether it was a boring fight. And then Shakur Stevenson took it out of bounds and started being Twitter fingers and making threats. And then Jay Prince backed it up and said, we can handle this however it is we going to handle it. And because they not backing down and because they saying, listen, we don't necessarily respect you. They never said that they was going to see you in the streets. Mason Camp at no point during this short ever said that they was going to meet you in the streets. They said, this is our experience. This is why we don't respect these dudes at 60 and still in the streets. And this is why I stand on what I stand on. At no point in no space did they ever say anything that would lead you to believe that they want to meet you in the streets. They said, listen, we from the streets and this is what we don't agree with because this is what our experiences are. Come on, man, listen. There's no way in the world you don't see Rich Paul going online and saying, I'll handle you in listen, if you got a problem with LeBron James, come talk to me, I'll handle it in the streets. You don't see that shit. You just don't
Whoa,
see it. You don't see it, bro.
your car, man. What you mean? No, your car, bro. I get what you're saying. It's certain scenarios where Mace and Cam, they actually know the people that they were talking about. So yeah, they was talking extra. You know what I'm saying? They have done that. But in this scenario, they did not do that. I didn't hear
Listen,
them talking about. I
everybody,
didn't hear them.
everybody in the chat adding all of this extra into it. They can't argue my point, and so they throwing all of this extra. Anton like Mason Camp. Yeah, I absolutely enjoy Mason Camp, but I haven't 100% agree with everything that Mason Camp says. If you've been watching After Hours, and if you see me criticize Mace, I absolutely have went against what it is that they said a lot of times. But see, they don't care about that because this is the problem with the fans today is that they're so invested in what somebody else is saying or they're so invested in whether they like or don't like somebody that they're not objective enough to be able to argue the point that I'm making instead of arguing against the person that we arguing the point for. Don't have nothing to do with Mase or Cam. If they said that the fight was boring to them, then the fight is boring to them. That's their opinion. That don't have nothing to do with streets. And so
Yeah,
y'all
and
doing all this extra stuff, but y'all not able to remove how y'all feel about them as commentators in order to make an assessment of whether or not they were right or wrong. And in this instance, they are right. They are 100% right.
no, and in that instance, they were 100% right about the fight as well because I watched it and it was, yeah, man. Like he definitely. If you would have seen those other fights before that, my young boy, shout out to the Mason brothers, Abdullah Mason, he destroyed his opponent. He was the best fighter on the card.
Somebody said Anton be wrong a lot and never admit to it. You think I'm wrong. I think I'm right. That's why it's my opinion. I'm not going to give an opinion that I think is wrong. That sounds dumb. Anton be wrong a lot of times, but he never admit to it because I don't, it's my opinion. Of course I'm going to think that I'm right. That's why I'm giving it. And then you are allowed to have, listen, bro. I get 1,000 videos made again about me on a monthly basis.
Mm-hmm.
And they are entitled to their opinion. And one thing that I've always said, now don't be mad if I come back at you if you make something. Occasionally I'll pick and choose and then I'll throw a shot here and there back at you, right? Because you a content creator too. But here's the problem with that. The only thing I say is as long as you stay off certain things that apply to my real life for people that surround me, I am full game. I am a content creator. You can say what you want to say about me, whatever, blah, 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 so on and so forth, right? That's a part of the game. If you're going to be in the game of entertainment, if you're going to get it in any form or fashion, then you are open to criticism. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about whether or not you believe that the person is right or wrong, or you believe that the person is giving the right information, or you find the person entertaining. That's just a part of what it is. Now, Shakur Stevenson, he didn't been a boxer long enough to be able to take the criticism and understand exactly what the game is. I don't really understand where the disagreement is. I think I'm right. You think you're right. It's a matter of opinion. It ain't a right or wrong in this. This is opinion. It's entertainment.